Toyota's RAV4 practically invented the crossover segment decades ago, and now it's back with an all-new 6th generation. So what's it gonna do this time? What's up, folks? I'm Dave Undercoffler, editor-in-chief of Autolist.com, a sister company to CarGurus. Toyota first launched the RAV4 back in 1996, and it bridged the gap between an SUV and a sedan. And since then, it has sold millions of copies worldwide and launched one of the most popular body styles on the entire market. So now it's back with an all-new generation for 2026, and it brings with it some significant changes. For starters, the powertrain switches to either hybrid or plug-in hybrid. There's no gas version available anymore. And as you can see, it's been completely redesigned inside and out. There's now new trims like the dynamic GR Sport or the off-road oriented Woodland. And Toyota is using this new RAV4 to launch a completely new infotainment system. So how's all that going to stack up against rivals like the Honda CR-V, Subaru Forester, Chevy Equinox, and Nissan Rogue? Let's go spend some time with this and find out. But before we do, be sure to like and subscribe to this channel so you can get alerts on all of our future updates. All right, let's talk trims on the new RAV4, and there are a lot of them. The first is the core group. That's the LE, XLE, and the Limited. Then you have the sport grades. That's the SE and the XSE. Then there's the Woodland, which is an off-road oriented version. And then finally at the top, the all-new GR Sport. Now, if you want the plug-in hybrid version, that comes standard on the GR Sport. It's optional on the Woodland and the sport grades. And then base models will come standard with front-wheel drive, with all-wheel drive coming as an option. Mid and higher grade trims do come standard with all-wheel drive. Finally, what we've got here right now is an XLE hybrid with front-wheel drive. Pricing hasn't been announced yet, but we bet it's going to be between $37,000 or $38,000, including destination. All right, now let's take a look at the exterior of the RAV4. As we mentioned, completely redesigned for 2026. You've got these wraparound headlights right here. These are LED standard on all trims. Has a little bit of a family resemblance. It does look like the current Toyota Camry, so that's pretty cool. Higher end trims are gonna have LED fog lights down below. The grille is gonna look pretty much the same across all trims, except the Woodland does get a little more aggressive, a little more blocky right here. And then you have the GR Sport, and that's gonna be more aggressively styled up front. You're gonna have a larger air intake and a lower fascia with a little more sporty trim. In terms of dimensions, this new RAV4 is almost the same size as the outgoing version. That's in terms of wheelbase, length, and width. And then turning to the back, this has also been completely redesigned. It's a little more sleek, a little smoother than the outgoing RAV4, which is kind of blocky, especially back here. This does kind of look like a Nissan Rogue, but still pretty stylish. Then you've got the new RAV4 script running across the middle here. We also have a spoiler. The GR Sport has a more aggressive spoiler up here. Meanwhile, the Woodland trim comes standard with a trailer hitch and a roof rack. All right, let's talk powertrains. As we mentioned, the new RAV4 comes standard with a hybrid setup. That's a 2.5 liter 4-cylinder engine. It makes 226 horsepower on the front-wheel drive version we have here and 236 horsepower on all-wheel drive versions. It comes standard with a CVT type of gearbox, and Toyota says that this setup on this front-wheel drive version will get up to 44 miles per gallon combined, and that is pretty impressive. And then there's also the plug-in hybrid version, and that is an option on mid to high-grade trims, or it's standard on the GR Sport. That uses an electric motor with this 4-cylinder engine for 324 total horsepower. It comes standard with all-wheel drive. Toyota says it will be able to drive between 48 and 52 miles in electric power only, depending on the trim, and it uses a CVT type of gearbox. All right, now to the interior of the new RAV4. Generally, there's a lot to like about this cabin. I'm pretty impressed overall. The first thing is this screen. It's 10.5 inches. It uses Toyota's all-new infotainment system. It's a pretty cool system, very intuitive to use. Everything you want is easy to find. I also like it's very easy to customize where the different tiles are. It has wireless Apple CarPlay and wireless Android Auto connectivity. But overall, yeah, we've been impressed. We've only been in this car for a few hours and already feel very comfortable using it. So kudos to Toyota for launching a really great system. This screen itself is 10.5 inches, and that's on the lower end trims. Remember, we're in an XLE right now. Higher end trims are gonna get a 12.9 inch screen. And then for the instrument panel, you have a fully digital screen. This is a 12.3 inch screen, and that is standard on all trims of the RAV4. And this is pretty impressive because it's actually configurable. Right now, I've got a maps display along with my fuel economy, but you can get it to display a variety of different things. That is a feature you see usually on more expensive higher end trims or higher higher end cars. So I really love that. You've also got some other nice amenities considering this is kind of a base model. The seats are fake leather. They are heated up front. You've got some nice padding here on the dash. In terms of the climate control, Toyota did a nice job of blending physical buttons for the temperature, and then you also have fan speed built into the screen. It's there all the time, so you don't have to hit another button to get it to display. I like that. It's a nice little touch. You can hit this button and it will show you a broader set of menus. But overall, everything is nicely laid out and easy to find. I will say some of these buttons down here are kind of weird. They're kind of huge considering you're probably never going to touch them. This controls which drive mode you're in or which EV mode you're in on this hybrid. Over here, you can turn off the traction control, but again, kind of odd placement for them. And then in the middle here, you have a wireless smartphone charging pad on the left. Higher end trims are going to add a second pad here on the right. That's a nice feature, so then you and your passenger don't have to fight over whose phone can get charged. You also have a pair of USB-C charge ports on the side and then a really deep storage pocket there. Another nice touch is this console. It opens either side. Just a really cool bit of engineering. And then the seats themselves are nicely done. They've got good bolstering on the side, very comfortable. This is a power driver's seat standard on this XLE, so that's a nice touch. All right, so that's all the good stuff. So what didn't we like? Well, the main thing is how much cheap hard plastic there is in the cabin. You've got it here on the center console, here on the dash, the upper dash, and then on the doors here and up top. That's the kind of stuff that's gonna scuff and scratch very easily. It's gonna show its age very quickly, and that's a bit of a disappointment considering the pricing on these is starting to creep up. So we just wish that Toyota had done a little better job of using higher end materials to give this RAV4 a more premium feel. All right, so now we've got a top-of-the-line limited trim that says all the bells and whistles on the interior, so we wanted to show you what those were. The first highlight is this screen. It's bigger than the one we showed you earlier. This is 12.9 inches. Same system operating it, but definitely bigger, gives you more real estate. That's pretty cool. You move down here, these buttons, now that this is an all-wheel drive version, these buttons control different things. So this would be sort of for your inclement weather. There's a trail mode and a snow mode, and then you put it back to normal. And over here, you have your EV or your drive mode. Down below, you might notice the shifter is different. This is an electronic shifter. It's on the limited version. Most of the other trims are going to have the larger shifter we showed you before. A couple of other things. Right here, you've got a second wireless smartphone charging pad. That's pretty cool. Up here, we've got a digital rear view mirror, and up top, a panoramic moonroof. A couple of other goodies to mention. The seats up front are cooled. The steering wheel itself is heated. The rear seats are heated, and there's a 360-degree parking camera. All right, now to the rear seats. And if you've seen our videos before, you know the drill. I put the front seat to where I would have it if I were sitting up there. So basically, I'm sitting behind myself. I'm 6'1", and I've got plenty of room. Headroom is great, space for my legs, my knees, my feet. It's all really good. In terms of actual dimensions, the space back here is almost identical to the previous generation of RAV4, but it does lag behind most of its rivals. That's like the Honda CR-V, Subaru Forester, and Chevy Equinox. So if space is a premium and very important to you back here, be sure to check out some of those other models. Otherwise, it is pretty basic back here on our XLE model. We've got a pair of USB-C charge ports, a couple of vents. The seats themselves do recline a little bit. And then finally, you've got a center armrest with some cup holders. Finally, in terms of cargo space, this new RAV4 is almost identical to the previous generation that it replaces. You've got 37.8 cubic feet of space back here. If you fold the seats flat, you get 70.4 cubic feet of space. And that's about mid-pack for this segment. All right, next up, driving impressions. And as I mentioned, we're in the front-wheel drive hybrid. So this has 226 horsepower. So that's the lowest amount of horsepower you can get in this new generation of RAV4. And it's still plenty. I'm actually impressed by how well this drives. It's got plenty of pickup from either a dead stop or then when you're on the freeway and trying to pass somebody. So pretty impressed by that. So overall, this drives really well. Look, no one buys a compact crossover expecting it to be something like a Corvette. But for what it is, Toyota actually baked a nice amount of handling and sportiness into this, and this isn't even a sport model. This is, again, the XLE hybrid. So the steering has a nice amount of feel to it. The brakes have a good feel to them as well. Body roll is nicely controlled when you go around curves. There's also a nice amount of visibility. So many vehicles today feel like they're sort of getting squashed as they get more sleek or more aerodynamic, but you get in this RAV4 and you feel like you've got a great view of the road in front of you, to the side, over your shoulder, and then out the back. That's a nice touch. There's also different modes that this XLE has. We're in normal right now, but you can put it in the eco, you can put it in the sport, and then there's a custom mode where you can tune it to your liking. So that's a nice bit of tech. In terms of wind noise and road noise, that's nicely controlled in this RAV4. I will say the ride does feel a little stiff at times over certain potholes if the road is kind of rough, but that's definitely not a deal breaker, just something to be mindful of when you're test driving one. All right, so now we're driving an XSE, and on this trim, the plug-in hybrid is an option, and that's what we're driving right now. So this has 324 total horsepower. Toyota says it will get 41 miles per gallon combined fuel economy, and it can drive up to 52 miles on electric power alone. So we just wanted to see what it was like, and I gotta say, you definitely feel the extra horsepower over the non-plug-in version. This thing scoots if you really get on it. Yeah. I don't know if it shows up in the video, but it does have some really nice acceleration. A little earlier, we were testing it in the electric only mode, and while that doesn't quite have the full oomph that this dual setup does, it was plenty to get around town and for daily driving. So it's a nice combination of versatility. You could use the electric for getting around town, like we said, running errands, taking the kids to school, and never use a drop of gasoline. And then for longer freeway trips, you use the hybrid system and you've got a lot of power at your fingertips. That's a great combination. Another thing that's cool is that right now we are showing a range of 620 miles, and that's with the battery almost fully depleted, which means that this RAV4 has incredible range. You could take it for a really long road trip. Most cars this size don't get anywhere near that kind of range, so that's a pretty impressive feat. Finally, one other thing I really like about this plug-in hybrid setup is that it's a seamless transition from electric-only power to when the gas engine kicks in. It's very smooth, seamless. Some cars, some hybrids get kind of clunky when you do have that gas engine kick in, but fortunately that's not the case with this RAV4. The handoff is really smooth. All right, folks, there you have it. Our review of the all-new 2026 Toyota RAV4. Pros, well, we love the combination of power and efficiency that both the hybrid and the plug-in hybrid versions offer. We're also impressed by the number of standard features this RAV4 comes with, no matter which trim level you choose. And finally, the redesigned infotainment system that Toyota is launching on this RAV4 is nicely executed and very easy to use. Cons? Well, as we mentioned, there's just too much hard plastic throughout the cabin, and that's probably the biggest disappointment on this RAV4. We also think the price is creeping up a little high for a mainstream compact crossover. But overall, none of those are deal breakers. This is a fantastic vehicle. As you might expect, Toyota really did its homework on this new RAV4. We think anyone shopping for a compact crossover should definitely put this at the top of their list. So for reviews or listings of this RAV4 or anything else you're shopping for, new or used, be sure to check out CarGurus.com. We also have a new podcast called The Driveway. It features yours truly and the rest of our great content team. Be sure to check it out wherever you get your other podcasts. And before you go, be sure to like and subscribe to this channel so you can get alerts on all of our future updates. We'll see you out there.